What I say in purely demographic terms when I'm quoted as saying it's almost over, or it's basically over for Anglos, is to say that if anyone thinks that we are not going to be a very majority-minority state, because we became one in absolute terms about 2003 or 2004, you're not looking at the data. The data show a young population where 2 of 3 Texans are non-Anglo. The birth data show overwhelmingly that Anglos have been below replacement now for a couple of decades. And where are we going to get immigration from? Europe? Europe is the slowest growing region of the world and the only part of the world that the United Nations now projects to have an absolute decline between now and 2050. In fact, what I argue is there are now 2 populations in Texas and increasingly in America. One is an aging Anglo population, like myself, that are literally aging off the end of the life chart. And on the other end of that is a very young population that is primarily minority. The older population Anglo, the younger population minority. Now that doesn't mean that somehow we're pitted against one another. In fact, what I argue is it means we need one another, because that aging Anglo population needs a well-educated young population to help pay for things like Social Security, Medicare, and provide direct health to us as we age. But that minority population also needs that older Anglo population to help pay those taxes, to help provide the education they need to be competitive in what is increasingly an international society. And I argue we have a lot at stake in one another. You know, when I argue this, some people sometimes kind of look at me funny, but you know, I could be the biggest bigot that ever walked the face of Texas, and I would have to say exactly the same thing that I've just already said. Because the reality of it is that our fates are intertwined and interrelated, and if we forget that, we do so to our own detriment. The reality of it is the future of Texas is tied to its minority populations, and how well they do is how well Texas will do.